Welcome back, art students. In today's lesson, we will create a special work of art for a Mother's Day gift. Mother's Day is a day of the year on which mothers are honored by their children. Special ways to show your mother how much you love her and appreciate her are by doing extra chores around the house, like doing the dishes or treating her to a delicious breakfast in bed. Mothers also love receiving flowers to plant in the garden or a bouquet for the table. A personal favorite of mine is receiving a handmade gift from my daughter. In today's lesson, we will paint a lovely bouquet of flowers. Ready to begin? In this lesson, you will need white, purple, and green tempera or acrylic paint, about 8 Q-tips, glue stick, royal blue marker, and a rubber band, a pair of scissors, paintbrush, a cup for rinsing your paintbrush, white paper, and a piece of brown paper. I've recycled a grocery bag, and this paper needs to be larger in size than your white paper. Okay, let's get started. Let's start with our royal blue marker and our white piece of paper. Now we're going to draw with our marker our beautiful vase on the white paper, and then we'll cut it out. Okay, so we've got the top, the bottom, and the middle. Sort of the middle top, I'm going to draw one straight line, and I'm going to be using the wide side of my marker. This will be the top of our vase. About the same distance, same length. Okay, at the bottom, right underneath, you're going to draw one straight line. Now we're going to draw a rounded line that's going to connect to our bottom, the base of our vase. Okay, so kind of keep your eyes moving towards the corner, and when you get near the corner, bring your line back in. Now this side. Kind of look at where the corner is, and then bring your line in. Okay, now we're going to add detail to our vase. At the top, I'm going to use the point of my marker now. I'm going to draw one straight line from one side of the vase all the way to the other. Another straight line right underneath it. I want to leave a little space because I'm going to add little tiny circles on the inside. Now, in that space, add tiny little circles. Now these circles are shaded in all the way across. Using the wide side of my marker, I'm going to draw a line all the way across, right at the base. Now, I'm going to use my pointy side of my marker, and it doesn't matter if you don't have a wide or a pointy side. Use what you have. I'm going to draw a wavy line right through this space. This will be a really pretty little vine. Up and down rounded lines make a wavy line. Okay. Now we're going to go and add some little leaves on our vine. Now these leaves will just be little ovals. They can touch or not touch, but they're going to go all the way around. Okay. Now we're going to add some squares. These squares will come out just underneath this line here. Leave some space between each square. I'm making a straight line down, over, and up. Straight line down, over, and up. Okay. Now for our beautiful flowers. In the center of your vase, draw a large circle. And on the side, another large circle. Do you see these circles? They're not so big. They're bigger than this circle. And another one on the other side. So right now it sort of looks like I have 2 eyes and a nose. Okay, now we're going to draw our petals. Each of our flowers will have 4 petals. My petals will go up, rounded petal, and down. Up, rounded line, and back down to my center. Rounded line, back, rounded line, and back. Let's do the other flowers now. Rounded line, and back. Up, rounded line, and back. Remember, we're doing 4 petals. Now, if these are close to the edge, you can take your petals and just keep going and stop. And stop. Let your eye sort of move right off the page. Now our other flower here, rounded petal and back. Okay, we are going to shade in our petals here. So with your marker, remember we're leaving the center circle open. We're not going to put color in there. It's going to stay white. Go ahead and shade in all of your petals blue. Try not to leave any white spots in your flower petal. I'm doing my best to go slow and carefully so I can keep my color right in that shape. When you finish one flower, move on to the next. Okay, we have completed our top 3 flowers. Now, if you're still coloring in your flowers and you're not ready to move on, you can always pause the video and catch up with us. Okay, so now in some of these empty spaces, we're going to add little white flowers. So just like the flower we've done here, wherever you find space, let's go right in the center here. We've got an open circle, and let's do 4 open petals. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That flower is finished. Now let's go down here. Let's do 1 on each side. First a circle and 4 petals. 1, 2, 3, 4. Other side, circle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we're going to work on connecting these flowers. This is fun. We're going to use the same sort of wavy line to connect our flowers. I like to connect them by the circles. So starting with our middle flower, let's connect our big flowers first. A wavy line in the space that's open. connect this flower. Wavy line into the space that's open. Doesn't have to be the circle. Now, to the little flowers now, a wavy line to this little flower. And this one will just go up like that. Okay, now we are going to add those tiny little oval leaves right on our vine. One, and now I'm doing one side, then I'm going to do the other side, sort of taking turns. Go around and look at all of the vines you have and add some little tiny leaves. Okay. Now, we're going to add some flowers on the bottom now. Okay, so on the bottom, we are going to add 2 bigger circles, so 1 on each side, about the same size as our large circles here. And 4 petals. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, go ahead and shade those in. Okay, we've shaded in our 2 large flowers. Now we're going to add, I think we have space for a little tiny white flower here, right between. Circle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we need to connect the flowers with the vine. So let's make a little line, a wavy line, connecting. Each flower should be connecting. Connecting my white flower now to my 2 big blue flowers. And now we'll add those small little leaves on our vine. Okay, now we have a lot of open space here on the side, and you see how I've taken some little vines and I've sort of gone right off to the side, so it looks like those vines are wrapping around my rounded vase. So right here at the top, if you've got space, let's start at the top where we have our top flowers. Touch your top flower, and if there's an open space on the side, make a little wavy line. Okay, another little wavy line. You see how this is now sort of filled in, and it's empty here, so we're going to do the same on this side. Wavy line, wavy line, wavy line, and now our little leaves. Okay, wherever you have an empty space, there's a little space here, a little space there. Really want this to look like a beautiful vase. I have a little space here. Really, the vines really add beautiful detail to our vase. Okay, oh, I have some space down here. Let's add some more lines. Looks pretty good. So before we move on, take a look to make sure that you have your vase filled in with leaves on your vines and there are no big empty white spaces. Okay, let's go ahead and find our scissors now, and we're going to cut right along the outside of our vase. So normally we take our scissors and we cut right on the line. Today we're going to try to cut on the outside of the line. Now if you accidentally cut into the line, that's okay, because we are going to go back and trace our vase with blue marker again. So I'm going to cut right up to my vase, and I'm going to carefully stay on the outside of my vase. Remember where your fingers go, thumb in the little hole, all the way around. My helper hand is holding the paper tight while I carefully move my scissors around my blue line. I might need to move my helper hand to adjust and rotate my scissors to get around the corners. Sometimes when I have extra paper hanging off that's in my way, we don't need this space, so I might just cut that off. So now it's not in my way. Back to my outside of my blue line. I can cut this space off, keep going. Okay, now we are going to go back and trace over the outside of our line to make sure that it's a little thin on this side and kind of thicker on this side. So we're going to just go around and trace the outside of our vase. I'm going to move it here just in case I accidentally go onto the paper. So just anywhere on your vase. Let's start at the top. I see a little white spot here, so I'm going to go and fill that in. And I'm going to just go all the way around my vase, right on the outside, the very edge, going over my line. Over my flowers. Okay, that looks great. Cap up your blue. We can put our scissors away. Now we're going to put our vase on our brown piece of paper. Now, if you have a larger piece of paper at home, if you don't have brown, you can use another. I suggest using a color piece of paper, so when we cut out our vase really pops against a contrasting color. If you put it on a white piece of paper, you may not see the contrasting color. You can always maybe go back and, if you're using white paper, to decorate your paper in a way that makes your vase pop. But for mine and yours today, we're going to use this brown recycled paper. And I've simply just cut the sides right off of it. Okay, so let's glue our vase onto our brown piece of paper. You may need to pause the video if you haven't cut your paper yet. I can show you how to do that actually before we go on. With this grocery store bag, I've cut right along the inside edge. You might need a helper to help you with this. You're going to cut the bottom off. You've got the base running out of space. So once you cut the bottom off, you can open up your grocery bag, and it opens up pretty flat. There's a few lines, but as you press it down, those will sort of disappear. And you really have two pieces of paper, so you flip it to the blank side, and then you can trim off any tears that you have. So that does take a few seconds to cut, and when you're ready, we can glue it on. Okay, so find your glue stick. We're going to cover the back of the vase. You want to use quite a bit going all the way around. I'm going to trace it with my glue stick because I really want that to stick on there. I don't want any corners peeling up. And glue dries pretty quick, so I've got to work kind of fast working with glue. Now I'm going to place it right in the center, the bottom center, and press down. If I have any parts that are coming up like this right here, take your glue stick, give your vase some more glue, and press it down. See a little here. Press down. Okay. Put your lid on your glue stick. And now we're going to paint lilacs. Lilacs are in bloom right now, and they're absolutely beautiful. I picked a few from my yard to show you. There are some darker purples. There's some white in there and green. And we're going to paint lilacs today. And we have a fun way to do that by taking some Q-tips. You find these in the bathroom. I use them quite a bit for art. We've used them before, haven't we? Okay, so I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to stack them up. Kind of hold them in the center. I'm going to wrap a rubber band around them. Hold it, twist it, wrap it around, twist, over the top, twist, over the top. That's pretty good. I don't want it so tight that my little Q-tips won't have any movement. But do you see? They're all together there. Okay, so now we are going to make the shape of our lilac flower. And as you can see with the lilacs, they are sort of rounded and they kind of droop down. Their petals are heavy and they droop down. So we are going to make several using our Q-tips. We're going to start with our purple. And I'm going to, I don't want to put too much on my, just want to really kind of put the purple right on the tip of my Q-tips. And I'm going to start, I think, at the top, and we'll work our way down. Okay, so just a little bit of purple. I just have the tops, and I'm going to sort of make my shape, and then I'll go back and fill it in. So I will make a round shape. Do you see the stamp we made? Dip it again. And then from my circle, maybe just a tiny little area that pokes out. It's kind of a triangle from there. Okay, so now go back and shade in that circle, stamp it in. You want to leave some on the outside where you see those tiny little round stamp marks. So when you're finished, it's rounded and it kind of comes on out. This is the droopy part of the lilac. Okay, so there's one. Let's make another one. We will go back and add white to our lilac after we've completed doing all of our dark purple. Okay, so rounded, starting at the top. Filled in our circle. Now let's make that little tiny, it's kind of like a nose that dips down. Okay. Now go ahead and put some more purple inside. But not completely shading it in. Okay, there's one, another one. All right, let's do another one down. Let's do it down here towards the bottom. And you can go right over your vase. If you had a vase of flowers, you can see that my flowers drape right over my vase. Make your round circle. Stamp that in there. Let's make this droop down. Kind of looks like we're making a round head and an elephant trunk, doesn't it? Let's do another one down here. Round circle. And we'll make that little elephant trunk that comes out. I think that's a good description for this. I think we have space for maybe one more. We'll just add it here. Maybe we'll make a couple small ones. That'll look nice. Rounded circle. I'm going to leave a little bit of space between because I'm going to put a little green in there for our leaves. Okay, so how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that looks pretty nice. We can make these a little bit bigger. Just leave a little space. Okay, now we have our paint's pretty wet still. Working with paint, I'm going to take my Q-tips and I'm going to gently dab them in my white, and I'm going to just add some highlights right over the top of my purple. Now when my white mixes with my dark purple, I'm going to make a lovely lilac color. Do you see that lilac color coming out? Let's start with just the top. This is where maybe the sun is shining down. Another little dip. Working with that top flower, maybe just a couple splashes of white in there. We don't want it to be all white, although there are white lilacs. Just a little bit of white. When you feel like you have enough white, you can move on to the next lilac. This one looks pretty good. I think I'll start with the other top lilac. Doing just the top, all the way to the tip. Just going to dab a little bit of white, making that lilac color right on your lilac. You'll do this until you have all of your lilacs with some white, making that beautiful lilac color. This is a dark purple and the light is a lilac color. Light. Okay, so I think we're pretty happy with our shape. And now we will add our green leaves. Okay, so find your paintbrush and we are going to make some leaves that kind of poke out wherever we have space. I've only done a few on my example piece. We're going to put a little bit of green through the center. We'll do that last so we can let this dry a little. So dip your paintbrush in your green and we will make some leaves around our bouquet. So for our leaves, we'll make a curved line, another curved line back, and shade in that green. Here's some space here. Curved line up, back down, shade in my green. Maybe there's a little space here. Maybe one down here. You can go right over your base too. Maybe one here. I'm trying to spread out my leaves so I don't have them all close together. Curved line, curved top line, curved bottom line. Maybe one here at the top. I'll make that one go right off the page. Let's put some of that green right in the middle now. So if you've got space between, draw just a little line all the way to your pot. Maybe a little line coming out. We're going to connect some of these green leaves just to the lilac. Sort of tuck behind. Wherever you have a green leaf, just have it touch either the stem or the lilac flower. So it looks like it's growing right. It's behind, it's growing out of the lilac, but you can't see it connect. Just going to add a little green brush strokes in my empty spaces. You can see here that you can kind of peek through and see where there's green poking through. And then I might take my paintbrush And just ever so gently, maybe make a couple green dots. I'm not moving my brush, I'm just stamping it down where I might have that stem. If you look, you can see some of the green poke through. Okay, I think that looks pretty nice. I think any mother would love this special vase. Now, if you have an extra frame that you're not using, maybe in your basement or in your storage, I found a frame in my house that I'm not using, but because it's Mother's Day and we're making this extra special, you might look for an empty frame that you're not using, and you can really make a lovely piece of art. So up to you, or you may maybe draw or paint a really pretty border, your very own frame, or just hang it somewhere where she can see it. I know she'll love it. Okay, so I wanted to show you, I know not everybody has paint, so I wanted to show you a couple different options that you can do if you don't have paint. Now, if you don't have a recycled brown bag, you can find just a large white piece of paper in your house. I found the inside of a frame piece of paper that worked really well, or maybe an old calendar paper. Calendar paper is nice and big, so that might work. Or you might have to just tape some pieces of paper together to make a larger piece of paper. So I've given you an example here. I had a white piece of paper and I didn't want to use white paper with my white vase, so I used our watercolor paints and I just painted a turquoise color right over the white. I glued down my vase when the paper was dry, and then with a marker, I used black, but brown would look nice too for my branches. I'm using black marker to make cherry blossoms, and I've done that by using tissue paper and marker. You could also use paint too, just for fun. If you want to do, maybe you want to make several different vases in your Mother's Day gift. Okay, so to make our branches, I'm going to first show you how to do the tissue paper look. To make our branches, you can make as many branches as you like. We're going to just make, coming out from our vase, you'll touch your vase and make a branch right off the page. Okay, now we're going to do a few twigs that come out. Okay, for your tissue paper, you will use a pencil or a paintbrush and take a piece of tissue paper. I have pink, and I'm going to put my paintbrush or my pencil down, and you'll just pinch it, push it down, kind of squeeze it right around your pencil or your paintbrush. So it's kind of stuck on there. You'll use your glue stick. You set that down gently. Use your glue stick or your white glue. That works well too. Glue stick or your white squeeze glue. And then where you put the glue, I'm going to carefully just press down my tissue paper and then lift up my paintbrush or my pencil. Okay, so you'll do that several times around. I'm going to put the glue down first, I think. Let's do one small dab, 1, 2, Okay, I want to work fast. I'm working with glue so it doesn't dry. Put the paintbrush or pencil down. Push the paper up with your fingers. Pinch it. Squish it. Now, gently put it right on that glue, press down, and then carefully lift up. Now you can use green for a few leaves. So near the flower blossom, I'm going to put just a couple dabs of glue and put some green there to show you. Squish, squish, squish. Right next to that pink. Press down. Wants to fall over, and that's okay. Looks like a real leaf. Okay. It's stuck a little bit, so I'm going to use my finger. Smush that down. Okay, that should stay fine. Okay. So this is a lovely look, and this look is pretty neat because it kind of comes off the page. Might be harder when you have a frame because it might get squished down, but you decide. Now, if you don't have paint, you can use a marker. And you can draw your black or brown. Branch coming right out of our vase, and a couple stems. Okay, and very similar to how we made our blossoms on our vase. I should have mentioned, when you are choosing to use a background color and you're using markers, try to use a lighter color for your paper because it'll be harder for you to see your markers. Okay, so you'll make a petal, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 petals. Shade those in. And you'll make a little red center. It might be easier for you to make a red center and your petals around it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is using a marker, and then you can make leaves around. Just kind of come out from the stem, up, curved line up, and then a curved line under, and shade that in. Another one up here, right by our blossoms. And then of course, if you have paint, you can also do this look using paint. So up to you, but either one looks really nice as a finished framed piece for your mother. I know she will love it because it's made by you. And there you have a beautiful bouquet of flowers. See you next time, and happy Mother's Day. Bye.